You are about to enter a space of ultimate football knowledge. From four guys with little to no actual football experience, except for armchair quarterbacking. Brace yourself for passion and knowledge like you have never seen. Welcome to the Football is King podcast. Welcome to the show, everybody. Oh, it started over. That's fun. All right. Welcome in, everyone, to college football week 6. I think it's week 6 review.
It is week
And
6.
let me tell you, y'all, you're in for a great one today because college football this weekend got nuts. Of course, it decided all of football really decided just to be super fun on the weekend that I was at a music festival and I couldn't really watch the games except for looking at how the ball was moving across the screen on my phone. So that sucked. But you know what? I'm glad everybody else got to enjoy a good weekend of college football. The internet loved it.
Dude,
Look, can I say one thing? I read some comments on our other videos, and I need to address something.
Okay.
We had a comment about evidently I was flashing gang signs
Uh-oh.
at the intro, and I would like to say, first off, I'm very Caucasian. Look at me. I
Oh
don't
my
know what a
gosh.
gang sign even looks like most of the time. I can do the blood sign because what kid in middle school don't learn how to do that? I mean, that's just common knowledge. But if you think I'm trying to be a gangster and flash gang signs, I do that. You can clearly see I do this podcast in my vehicle with a computer and a phone open. If you think that anyone that's anywhere where there's gang violence is going to sit in their vehicle with their computer open, you're sadly mistaken, sir.
I'm
So
pretty
no one's
sure
flashing gang signs.
I'm currently trying
you
to figure out where these comments
well,
were.
so I know what video it's on. I don't think we know this person. I think that was a straight up random
I
person that
know.
found our
That's why
video.
I'm addressing it. I
Yeah.
appreciate the view, guy.
It's some
But
it was it's very funny how the world turns. This was from one of our NFL videos. For those who only listen to our college videos, you should check out those as well. But it's really funny because I think the title of that video are the Saints going to win the Super Bowl? And so we got some random Saints fan to comment on there that throwing up gang signs is not funny at Shane or whoever was doing it.
Throwing up gang signs is not funny.
it was
And
definitely me. But no one was throwing up gang signs.
I
I
know, but it's also really funny that 3 weeks later, I don't think that video holds water anymore because I don't think the Saints are going to the Super Bowl. So it's fun. Life comes at you fast is the lesson that we're gonna learn today.
Yeah.
Um,
I just had to address that. Sorry.
that's fair, and I think that there's no better place to start than that lesson with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Life comes at you fast, baby. You go and you have you hold on for dear life against Georgia. It's a great game, but you Alabama was pretty bad in the second half of that football game. Fair to
Their
say.
defense was bad.
Yeah, their offense wasn't great either. They didn't really
No,
score a
yeah.
ton of points in the second half, but they didn't have to. They got the job done. We're undisputed number one team in the country. I don't think many people would argue that. And then to just lay an egg of all eggs against Vandy is just great. It's great for college football.
College football is a crazy game. And the crazy part about that game, I was watching it. I tuned in the second half because I thought it was going to be a blowout. Vandy legit, like, that was not a fluke.
No,
They
they,
kind of pushed Alabama's defense around.
yeah, they ran the ball like crazy.
They were 12, I think they were like 12 of 18 on third down, something stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it was very it was very classic college football kind of things where you get a big win and you're playing a lesser opponent. So you took them not serious. But usually the Bamas of the world maybe start slow in the first quarter. The Nick Saban coaches up,
I was going to say, Nick Saban, that
put
wouldn't
their
happen.
foot up some rear ends, and then all of a sudden they kick it together in the second half.
Yeah, that doesn't
That just
happen if
that just
Saban's still there.
did not happen.
They tried that the first possession of the second half, they scored immediately, and I think it was a 2-point game. And then the next possession, Vandy just.
I mean, they kept bringing it close. it was always at like 9 points. So then Alabama would score a touchdown and then go down two,
They
and
couldn't
then
get a stop.
Vandy would just respond every time, which is just very impressive. I couldn't tell you the coach of
Look,
Vanderbilt, but
when
good for
they
them.
Clark Lee. I learned about
when
him because they couldn't shut up about him.
Man, that is the most Civil War name
yeah,
I've
it
ever
is.
heard in
Clark
my
Lee.
life right there. Clark Lee.
When they went into halftime, I was watching it with a guy, and I turned to him and I said, "Bama's gonna come out and they're gonna end up blowing them out by 30." I really thought that, but this is I want. It kind of makes me a little happy though because I think this is the first time Bama fans are getting to realize this is college football, and they don't get to live in La La Land anymore. They get
That's
to be like,
exactly what I told Sarah's dad because he's a big Bama fan. I was literally like, "This is like welcome to how the rest of us feel without Saban."
It's the same
yeah,
thing. It's the same thing when the Patriots dynasty died.
yeah,
Said the
Yeah,
same thing to Patriots fans. Like, welcome to being a normal team's
like
fan.
yeah.
Saban did such a good job of like never letting they would lose a game every once in a while, but it was never like a hangover type situation where it was
No.
like, oh, we won a big game and now we don't show up the next week. Like Saban never had that problem.
And it certainly wasn't against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's the
No,
big thing. It's like to lose to a program like Vanderbilt, which
Hey,
I think. I mean,
Vanderbilt
Shane and
respectable
I
too
have
this
bet
year.
on Vandy multiple times this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a bad football team.
The
They're
best
not.
part is
Did lose
the
to
best
Georgia
part
State.
is watch Vandy get crushed this weekend.
They will.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
get dominated. They're playing
They're playing Kentucky.
Kentucky. They'll probably lose by
Kentucky, yeah.
50.
They're 14-point underdogs too, which is funny.
I mean, that is actually surprising
Yeah.
just because Kentucky doesn't really score that many points.
No, Kentucky's
So like
just,
that line is telling me that they're predicting like Vandy to score like no more than 10. And I
They're
think
expecting the Vandy players to still be drunk.
Vandy's quarterback looks like he's just playing in the backyard with the boys. Like
He is chaos.
well, he is
he's
chaos.
just
And
chaotic as hell.
I'm
But
actually
my
I was
favorite thing was his interview after the game where he
Oh,
drops
yeah.
like 6 F-bombs and then goes, I just want to thank my Lord.
No,
he
he got
was
it
like- he was
backwards. He
All right,
thanked the
God had
Lord
a plan.
first.
I've been dreaming about this since I was little.
God,
Daddy, we effing lit.
Yeah, he
And then-
thanks
and
the
then
Lord
they
first
calm-
and then the F-bomb.
they got him calmed down a little bit. And she asked another question. He goes, shit.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I actually hate that he did this. We gotta stop. We gotta stop doing the next day apology by athletes. The next day, like when a team loses and they come out and they apologize, blah blah blah
just
blah.
own it.
Yeah, but like him coming out the next day and having to apologize for using foul language. Hey man,
Listen,
the devil took over for a second. You beat Alabama. Like you use some foul language. Go pray for some repentance.
listen, I understand.
But you don't have
I
to
get it.
repent to the internet. We gotta stop feeding the internet.
I get it. I totally understand. Most of our comments on all our videos are Jonathan, quit cussing so much. And
Or
then I get a
Shane.
phone call every
Yeah.
day. I get a phone call once a week saying, Jonathan, quit cussing so much. It used to be stop taking the Lord's name in vain. Now it's Jonathan, stop dropping the F bomb every other word. So I get it.
I don't think
That's
his
fair,
mom.
but I bet if you beat Alabama,
Yeah.
you wouldn't get that phone call.
Did you see his family and friends? They were all blackout drunk at halftime.
Dude, that was the funniest shit ever when he was like,
Immediately,
"We're the family."
Jonathan said,
They were all blackout drunk. Every single one of them.
that's great. I did not get to see
Wild.
that. Hey, speaking of being blackout drunk, I mean, how fun would it have been to be in Nashville that night? That
Oh,
would have
they were
been
going crazy.
Hey,
nuts.
one of my coworkers was there for a birthday party.
Yeah,
And so I texted him. I was like,
Go
did
to
you
Broadway.
see the goalpost?
I just
And he
know
was
all the
like-
bachelorette parties were like having a good time, and all of a sudden
Trying
there's
to figure out
goalposts, and
what
they're
the
like, "What
hell
in the
happened?"
world?"
They threw that sucker in the river. That's like
Yeah,
a
why'd
2.5
they do that?
mile walk.
They should
Yeah.
have. They should have just like
Whoa,
set it out
whoa.
outside of Broadway or something.
I think they walked with those goalposts for 3.2 miles.
Jeez.
Because
What-
Vanderbilt, as someone who has been to Nashville, Vanderbilt is not close to Broadway.
No, it's
a
not.
trek. And I mean, Vanderbilt's a beautiful campus, great place
What
to
they
go.
should have done was they should have posted it up at like one of the big bars. Like they should have got a bunch of people on the top roof and kind of hand it up and like
Yeah,
pass it up and then post it.
That's what I kind of thought too. You should have had it at a bar.
Dude,
yeah.
the
I personally
photos would have been legendary.
would have put it in the middle of the street, set it
Yeah.
up in the middle of the street, somehow get it to stand, and then you would have just like had people like try to kick field goals all night. It would be so fun.
That would have been
Just
so
having
funny.
drunk
Right
people
on
bring a
Broadway.
couple
Just
foot or like sure, let's get it out of the street because they're probably not going to shut down Broadway for you or whatever. Um,
I mean, Broadway shut down at night, so
pick whichever bar will let you lean it up against their building,
yeah,
and,
you just kick into it.
and then you're kicking into it.
Also,
I
it's a
don't know. I
shame.
think it would be pretty legendary to have a goalpost on like a third-story balcony.
Well, Morgan Wallen might throw it off and kill somebody.
I was thinking that too. So
If it was kind of a shame that they got fined for storming the field because that was the most like respectful field storm that's ever happened. They were literally in a single file line waiting to walk down the stairs. The security is just standing there, and the students are just walking past them.
and then Arkansas storms the field and they like stormed.
They
the
went
field.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Vandy did not go crazy.
And
It's like the slowest field storming of all time.
and
Andy
the
was
money
like,
goes to
"Excuse
Bama.
me, pardon me." Let me.
I didn't know they gave
Is
that
that
money to
where
the
the
other
money
team.
goes?
Yeah, so
Yes, they give
it's
it to the
an
other
SEC
team.
rule. If you storm the field, the money goes to the other team.
I didn't know that. I
So
thought
that's
it was
gonna
the
fuel
conference.
some NIL deal for some
Yeah.
guy that's gonna go destroy Vanderbilt next year.
Granted, Vanderbilt would pay that money 100 times over.
Oh, for
To
sure.
do it, yeah.
Oh, that guy just got himself a 10-year contract for that W.
Clark Lee did?
Yeah.
No, not actual. Not Blake. Not he
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
actually get an
Oh,
extension.
I was like,
he just
there's no way.
no.
I mean, Clark
He was
Lee
on the hot
probably will
seat
get
until that game.
No way. There's no way he was on the hot seat. They've won 3 football games.
Well, okay, no, he was on the hot seat coming into the season.
I
Okay.
didn't
How
realize
can you be
he
on the
actually
hot
played.
seat?
He played there.
Yeah, and so
Serious
did
question. How can you be on the hot seat at Vanderbilt? The seat is
Andy has fired 15, probably 20 coaches in our lifetime.
Yeah, I
So
said Vanderbilt rolled
I'm
they
not-
through
hire and
coaches.
fire people within 3
Hey,
years. every
James
time.
Franklin did pretty good at Vandy. Or was it James Franklin?
No, not James Franklin. I know what you're talking about though.
I'm not arguing that point, Jonathan. I'm just saying, what does Vandy expect? They don't win. So
You have to have some type of standard. You can't just be like, we suck. We're never going to get any better. Who cares who the coach is? Let's hire the middle
Yeah,
school.
it was James Franklin. He did
Was it?
okay at Vanderbilt.
they're good at baseball.
And now they still suck at he still
Well,
sucks at Penn State.
They've taken a little bit of a backseat in baseball.
All right.
I have a
When we start
serious
talking about
issue.
Vanderbilt baseball, I think we've talked enough about that football game.
Great game.
It was a
Great
great game. But there were other great games because college football just lost its freaking mind this weekend. And the best place to go after that game is Tennessee losing to Arkansas.
Ugly game.
Shout out Dr. Joel Good for calling this game. He said that Arkansas was either going to beat Texas or Tennessee, so now they beat Tennessee, so Texas is safe.
I hope they beat Texas.
Hey, Arkansas's got a defense.
How does Tennessee lose this game? I'm sorry. As someone who just watched Arkansas play a game and did not get to actually watch this game, so this is a legitimate question for y'all to explain to me how they lost. Arkansas's offense is atrocious.
Yeah, it was atrocious. And they lost their quarterback.
they
It's
make
not
the
like their
game-
defense is that good. So
They make
what
the
the
game
heck happened
really
to Tennessee?
dirty. They
Their
make the
defense
game
is-
really nasty. And Nico is not as good as
I would
Yeah,
say, what happened to Tennessee's offense? Because
Nico
Tennessee's
played
defense
terrible.
is
he
good.
played terrible. He sailed a shit ton of balls.
he missed wide open throws. They had wide open receivers. They were just missing.
Okay.
But I think the Arkansas defensive line just had him on his toes the whole night.
Yeah.
It was
I don't
not
think
a good
Arkansas's
performance.
defense is that bad. I think they're
Could
pretty good.
Tennessee not run the ball? I mean, they could. Their running back ran for 140
Well,
yards. Like, how do you lose
There's
this game?
also some very questionable coaching decisions in the end of that game. Like some of the decision making didn't make sense on like throwing the ball when they should have just ran it.
Heupel came out and said, which this is always however you say his name, this is always the case. He said he should have called a timeout.
Yeah, he didn't call a timeout, and like he let the clock just keep ticking away,
Run. Yeah.
Mm.
You got
and
timeout. You
Hey,
it
take the
didn't make
timeout.
any sense.
you want to talk about coaching malpractice decisions? Tune in to tomorrow's NFL episode because, ooh, buddy, do we have some things to talk about? All right, so that's it. Okay, I'm glad to know. So yeah, someone who didn't actually get to watch this game, like Tennessee's defense obviously played well. I mean, they have very good defense.
Yeah, their
I
defensive
just
line is shit.
Yeah,
I figured for sure that their offense would be able to handle this Arkansas
I
team,
feel
but
like they
no,
didn't even run the ball that well, but did that guy just have
Nico,
like one long run?
I don't know. He's 22 for 138.
That's
Looking
what I
at
was trying to figure out if
that's
he just had
not
one long
bad.
because he really I don't remember him running that
I
well.
don't remember
Look,
lots of runs.
I-
this is off topic from this game, but just thinking about it, this weekend set up the SEC for just the
Chaos.
funny for the
Chaos.
season.
Okay, yeah.
Chaos.
Also, I saw my thing is I'm watching this game through the interwebs basically. How are people, specifically Texas fans, talking about that this all these games are proof that the SEC isn't very strong?
No, this is proof that it
This is
is
proof
strong.
that the bad teams are good in the SEC.
Yeah.
Maybe it's proof that the good teams aren't as good as people like to say they are. I'll give you that. But like this is proof that just like the worst teams, like the Vanderbilts of the world, can beat you if you don't show up on Saturday.
Well, I think that like fans like that are so they're just so used to Big 12 where it's like the bottom tier just stinks, is just absolutely atrocious. And
Yeah, I
so
mean, and then I think in the Big 12, usually, not the new Big 12, but the old Big 12, I mean, anyone also could beat. Maybe not anyone could beat anyone, but most teams like Texas's boogie team is Iowa State. Iowa State's never been like the best team, but like Texas always struggles against Iowa State.
I've got one question to ask Texas fans that think the SEC isn't that strong. How many national championships has a Big 12 team
It was
won?
not, I would like to clarify, it's not mainly like it's not just Texas fans. Like
No, I know,
the
but
internet was talking about right because all
Danny
SEC
Cannell, my gosh, that dude is insufferable.
SEC people have been saying that the SEC should be guaranteed four playoff teams every year. And
it should.
everyone's like, how stupid is that? They can't even beat unranked teams or whatever. But it's
I,
like, here's a thought. Maybe the SEC unranked teams are better than the 10th ranked
yeah,
Michigan Wolverines.
Well, here you
facts.
go. Florida and UCF played this week, right? Florida is probably going to win 4 games this year. They beat UCF by 3 possessions.
Yeah,
UCF was undefeated Big 12, or they lost 1 game last week to Colorado.
Yes.
which is not a great loss.
No, but they were undefeated prior to that, and they just,
Yeah.
I mean, Florida, it was never even a close game.
No,
Yeah,
I think NIL is starting to show, especially in the SEC, that it has made the margins a little bit closer. Like everyone can be beat by everybody.
So what I think it is too is the transfer portal helps, but like teams
Yes.
like a Vanderbilt or like I don't know, mostly Vanderbilt, like they can go out and get a guy that's like 24 years old, 23 years old,
Yeah.
that's played college football for 5 years, and they have one season with him, and he does what he did to Alabama. He also beat Auburn last year at New Mexico State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's a good player. They found him in the portal, and he wins a big game.
See,
Or
I think it's the
or
opposite of that. I think it's the really good. Sorry, I do agree with Blake's point, but I also think from Jonathan, I think a lot of players that are good recruits out of high school that go to these SEC programs who don't get to play right away transfer out.
Yeah,
And
they go
so then
to
your Bamas and your Georgias are actually getting weaker than
the
they
depth,
normally used
it's
to
the
yeah,
be. The
depth.
because
depth
the
isn't
depth's
there.
not there.
And
Like
then as the
Georgia's
season goes on,
noticeable.
you pick up those small injuries and things. And so like now you've got these 5-star recruits or good 4-star recruits or whatever. I don't really care about the stars who are playing on teams that they never would have played on because of
But yeah,
NIL
but
transfer. And I
I
hate
think a
it.
lot of that has to do with these guys look around and they go, I can go sit at Alabama, but I'm the third string and I'm only getting such and such money, or I can go to Auburn or Florida or
Yeah,
Mississippi, and they get paid and they get a chance to actually play.
yeah,
So
All
I
right.
think it makes it more of an incentive to be like, I don't have to go to Georgia. I don't have to go to
Well, that
Alabama.
that
I
Eli
can go
Stowers
play
kid,
somewhere else.
that Eli Stowers kid was at A&M for 2 years. It was never.
Yeah,
He might have seen the field one time,
and he's
yeah.
a beast.
and he goes to New Mexico, transfers to New Mexico State. I remember he didn't play all that, or he played there, but I don't think he played that great. He dominated Alabama, legit.
Yeah,
They could
yeah,
not guard
100%.
him.
We were trying to play him at freaking quarterback.
Quarterback. Yeah, we chose him over Jalen Milrow.
We're trying to play him at quarterback.
We
Here's
recruited him over Jalen Milrow.
here's the final argument I've got. I got distracted, so I'm sure you're on something else. 10 years of the college football playoffs, 6 SEC champions,
My goodness, can you get off of it? The whole
two from the ACC and 2 from the Big Ten, and the ACC is one team. So I just want everyone to think that if you don't think that the SEC deserves 4 teams every year,
you
then you're
that, I
so
mean they definitely do not deserve 4 teams every year. If they get it, they get it. But there are definitely going to be
look.
years.
It
There are
shouldn't be
definitely years
allocated,
where
but let's be honest, they'll have 4 teams every
It's going to happen regardless.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to the best game of the week. I actually got to watch a little bit of this one. The Texas A&M Aggies absolutely obliterated Mizzou. It was not close
From the start.
from the start. No, sorry, it was close from the start. There was a very good penalty called by the refs because the offensive lineman was way downfield. But I was a little scared at the 75-yard touchdown.
Oh, yeah, when that
Then it
happened,
got,
I got
then it
real
got called back, and then it was not close from there on ever again.
And honestly, there was a huge missed call
Oh,
on their actual touchdown. It was a blatant hold. Like there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
one in the country
Two-
that doesn't
two
think that
guys.
was a hold.
Two guys.
Like yeah, they just held them.
I think it was
and they
Shamar. It was Shamar Stewart.
it was
the
Shamar.
guy.
Yeah.
He had him like if he didn't get held, it was a tackle, and I guarantee you they ain't scoring.
Okay, so the first possession when they picked up that pass interference, I agree it was pass interference based on how it's called, but it was a terrible throw.
Terrible
It was a
throw.
bad
I don't
throw.
think it was pass interference. I think it was holding.
It might have been holding it. It was
I don't
something
think
probably.
I don't think he does anything wrong when the ball is in the air. I think he is just running. He doesn't stick his hands up or anything. He's
Yeah.
just running with the guy in phase. And he doesn't try to deter him, like he never grabs at him. But before, when they're breaking through the line of scrimmage, he's holding his jersey the whole time. I'm
yeah.
fine with holding, but I don't think it should be pass interference.
I just hate the plays, and it happens all the time where the quarterback underthrows the receiver by 10 yards, and the guy just stops and he gets run over. Pass interference. Like we're rewarding a quarterback for an awful throw.
I agree.
It's
That is-
actually beneficial if your quarterback's smart enough to be like, if I throw this short, no one's there.
They do it all the time.
Yeah,
I got
Aaron
some-
Rodgers kind of made a career out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
he
do it all
does.
the time.
And now if you look at him, it's just not working for him. More on that on tomorrow's episode as well. If you haven't noticed, we're going to give you all the teasers to tune in for tomorrow's episode. Because we really want the views. All right. The big thing, Connor Wigman comes back into this game. He's been out, what's it been, 3 weeks? 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4
He
weeks?
played week 2, so it's been 4.
That man read a
Yeah.
lot of comments.
Connor Wigman.
Something to say.
Connor Wigman had something to say to some of the members of this podcast, and I am one of them because I was definitely team Marcel Reed, and he came in and he just said, "Shut up," and dominated.
I think Blake's the only one that said no. I think he has to come back.
It's amazing how throwing the ball, you can start moving. You can run if you can throw the ball, you can suddenly run the ball.
You
He
run
was
the ball.
18 of 22 for 276 yards.
I think Marcel caught Florida off guard because they had nothing to go off of. Really.
They had no
What
film.
touchdowns though?
They didn't know anything about him. They had no film.
Yeah, and they once teams started Arkansas figured out, okay, let's not let him be a runner, make him throw the ball. He can't really throw the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's Marcel Reed did exactly what you want your backup to do in that scenario. It's the same thing that Arch Manning has done. It's the same thing that Malik Willis has done for the Packers. Hey, your quarterback's out for 2 or 3 weeks. We need you to come in
and win.
you might not even have to win all the games, but if you can go 2-1 when you know your quarterback's going to be out 3 weeks, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Now, Marcel Reed did happen to go undefeated, so that's good. Um,
Also, Elko not releasing that Connor's going to play until right before the game, I think has a huge benefit on the sense of like, some coaches go in on Friday and they say, my starter's back, he's the guy, he's coming in. And then that coaching staff on the other sideline can be like, hey, we need to adjust a little bit.
yeah.
No, they didn't have any time at all to
They
adjust.
had
Well,
to
Eli,
they prepared for both, but preparing for both is not as good as just preparing for
Just
one.
preparing for
no,
one.
Eli Drinkowitz is an absolute buffoon. He
I
literally
think
said during
he's
the
a
week,
terrible coach.
he
He's a
said during the
terrible
week,
coach.
he said something about we're preparing for Marcel Reed. We're not preparing for that other guy. Like he was trying to insult him. Then
Also,
the whole blanket thing.
the blanket
Yeah.
thing was
That
100%
dude is an
him.
absolute buffoon.
He's a nerd loser that like somehow became a football coach. The guy's not a good coach.
They should fire him for
I
that whole
I think
skit.
we should all relax there. I like Eli Drinkwitz. I think
Nope.
He's terrible.
look at what he has. No, do not say he is terrible. Look at what he has done to this Missouri program, who was an absolute laughing stock.
No, 100%. But
Like you
the
cannot
fact of the
say that
matter
he is
is,
terrible.
I don't
okay,
think he's a
Now,
bad football coach. I think he's a
fine.
buffoon.
I
I,
think
I,
I
I
think
will agree
he
with you.
showed a lot of.
He has some buffoonery to him, but
I
over here saying he deserves to be fired and he's a bad football
If he
coach,
was
he
my
gets
coach,
no
I would
such
have been.
thing.
If he was my coach, I would have been so mad. After you pull the little Theo Weiss blanket thing, guess what? Theo Weiss had what, one catch, and Will Lee the third after the blanket whatever. He did not give up a single reception all day long.
not a single one.
You can't do that.
I
And
don't.
then you talk about Kyle Field,
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
about
I
how
have
it's
to put
not
that graphic
loud.
up.
we have talked many times on this podcast about bulletin board material. I
Oh
am
yeah,
a
bulletin board.
huge fan of do not ever give anyone bulletin board material because worst case scenario, when you lose, it's probably not even because of the bulletin board material. But
Newsletter.
now you give jackasses like us something to talk about.
I
Hey,
don't
I
know.
guarantee you they didn't lose this. A&M didn't be like, hey, have you heard what their coach said? We have to win this football game. We wanted to lose, but now we want to win. No, they were
He
outmatched. There was a reason why we were the favorite in this game because I do think if you actually go back and look at Missouri this season, they are a classic SEC overhyped team. They had a
yeah.
great season last year. They have not played well this year at all. They went to overtime against Vanderbilt, which actually might not be that bad of a thing, but they played pretty poor against Boston College. Um, there was some other game that they didn't play great in either.
Was it NC State?
If we go back to
Never
week
mind.
one
The
of
other
this
two games were
podcast,
great. They won 51-0 and 38-0. It's Boston College though. Boston College, they didn't play great. Vanderbilt, they didn't play great. And you would say that those are two subpar teams compared to Missouri being a top 10 ranked team. And then against us, they lay an egg. So it's like maybe that they they are what we've seen from the teams that they've played. They're really not that good, but they're better than what they were 2 years ago.
I called that. I knew this was going to happen.
I do respect Elko for after the game when he was going after. He even dropped an F bomb. I'm pretty sure in there. When he was going after the reporter, he wasn't really going after the reporters. He was going off the message board after the message board folks that were talking about Wigman is a pothead. Wigman's this. Wigman's that. And Wigman's pretty good at football.
Yeah.
Well, let's relax there.
He's had one bad game.
He's had one bad game. He's
He's
had
had a lot of injuries.
He's had a lot of average games too.
I'm going to.
I mean, I think he could be a really good player.
I think so too.
He showed what he could do this week. We need to see him do it again.
We need to see him stay healthy for one.
And we need to see him stay healthy.
The best quality is availability.
I don't know. There's some quarterbacks out there that probably their best quality if they would just get hurt, so we don't have to
Well,
watch him play.
sorry, I mean for a good
A good
quarterback.
quality,
Best
yeah.
quality is
I'm gonna
availability.
I'm
I
gonna
think
continue to say Connor Wegman stinks. Maybe label this podcast Connor Wegman still stinks so that he listens to it, and then we can continue down this train we're on. So Connor, if you're listening, you suck at football. You're terrible. I could do
Didn't
that
even
game.
throw a touchdown pass. Zero
Didn't even throw a
touchdowns.
touchdown pass. What a loser. This guy sucks.
Uh, sure. Le'Veon Moss.
Hey, if that works, I'll do it
I
every
think
week.
I think I think that
Yeah.
first play of the second half is the most important play of the game.
oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it
That
was.
was huge.
Absolute like the first half you come in and you're like, wow, we just kicked their teeth in. But you know that Missouri's in their locker room just like, hey, as long as we're the next people to score and get that momentum on our
We're
side,
good.
like
We have to
if we
show
can
up.
go and force a 3 and out and go get points, like they'll get nervous, they're gonna crumble, and just first play 75-yard touchdown, which I did not think for a second that Le'Veon Moss was gonna make it
Oh,
in
I didn't
that
think
end
so
zone.
either.
I did not think he was gonna make it, but he
He
put
had
in
three deep.
that about the 25-yard line. He was like, I'm gonna make it to this end zone. I was like, all right, good for you, bud.
Which also gives me hope for this team with Mike Elko because Aggie teams of the past, we would get
Give
a
that
three and
up.
out after halftime and then let them back in the game. Maybe we still win, but it would come down to a close game. And
Close
I
game.
don't like that. I like watching run the score up. I want to see how many points we can score.
For years, we have always said A&M can't beat the crap out of somebody. Like, we can't win big. We have to win close games because we can't win big. We finally got – I think the stat was like since like 2019, we haven't had that big of a spread in an in-conference game.
That was the
Like,
biggest one we've ever had versus a top 10 opponent.
oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah,
But
but
against a
then
top, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, what we
that
win
makes
by?
sense.
We won by
31.
31 points
But,
against
I
top
mean,
10. Like that doesn't happen very often. But
also,
usually we don't even beat the cruddy teams of the SEC by
right.
31.
exactly.
We don't – in years past, we don't beat the
Cruddy teams at
mid-major
all.
schools
Yeah.
by that much.
Hey, and guess what? We're gonna find out
Yeah,
about A&M for sure.
I was listening to this Oklahoma, not really, I saw a clip from this Oklahoma podcast, and even they were like, this might be a problem that Mike Elko might actually be a good coach.
I mean, we all know Mike Elko's a good coach.
I
Yeah,
think
but it seems like
everyone's kind of
A&M hires these dudes, and it's always the wrong dude.
Yep.
We're gonna find out if he's the wrong dude because we got a bye week and then at Mississippi State, which is the classic game that A&M throws away.
dude.
And
And
I will be there, so
If
if we
we
lose, I will jump
if
off.
we lose the Mississippi State game,
Yeah, say it now, Jonathan. What are you going to do?
we're not gonna
Shane
we're not
Have a
having a
burrito in your
podcast that
backside
day.
or what?
I if we lose the Mississippi State game, I will
No, but
have a
this is the
medium rare steak.
yeah. This is the classic A&M upset game too because it's off a bye, but we also have LSU coming to town the next weekend. So it's the look ahead game. It's after a big win. Like
We should
everything about
win.
this Mississippi State game says we're gonna lose.
It's
I
not
got
a
Based,
noon, it's not a noon start though.
I'm saying
You,
yeah, that's true.
you
I
know
got
why I
faith in
don't.
Hey, we
Elko.
just
I
won a
got
noon
faith
start
in him.
by 31 points.
You
We
know
don't have
why I.
another
Okay, hold
huh?
on. Pick one of you to talk.
Go
Go,
ahead,
John.
Shane. Shane.
We don't have another noon start all year. Good news.
Is that good news? We just won a noon game by 31 points against the top 10 opponent.
I like the noon start. We got it over with, and I can chill the rest of the day stress free.
I think the noon start kind of helped. Like the fans were in it. Everyone's involved.
No, you got to have a
Everyone's
night
watching
game.
the game.
Night games are-
The only reason why it could have helped is that it was too hot for the Missouri players because boy, it was toasty on Saturday.
Yeah, I do like playing in the heat in Kyle Field because a lot of the teams that come down don't.
Oh, hey, is there any chance that ain't it? Oh, we're by this week. Never mind.
We're by.
I was gonna say there's probably gonna be a bunch of games canceled / moved. I assume because
That's
of
true.
the Hurricane 2.0.
Well, I saw I think UCF moved their game to Saturday. It was supposed to be Friday. They're playing Saturday. Somebody else did too. I
Oh,
think
is it gonna hit during the week?
it's hitting
It's
tomorrow,
hit Wednesday.
Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
Uh,
Oh, that's
you know
pretty. Hey,
why?
T's and P's to all the people that are going to get
Yes,
hit
dude.
by Milton.
That looks terrifying.
Can
I
we?
was actually
Yeah.
just thinking
Also,
about it.
yeah, it's like the fourth biggest hurricane in United States history, but also it's named Milton. Like, can you just like? It's not a fun name to be like, man, our place got destroyed by Hurricane Milton.
Milton. But I think we need a new naming system for these things, but sure. But I was thinking about it today and I was like, man, I bet Blake's happy he don't live in
Oh,
Tampa
they're
no
about to get
more.
Oh
destroyed.
yeah,
I saw Tampa's mayor today literally on CNN said, if you do not evacuate Tampa, you will die.
Yeah, that was a wild thing to say.
Like, I mean, it's going to be pretty bad. So there's going to be a lot of death if you don't leave. So just freaking evacuate
Oh, you
people.
should
Like,
leave,
please.
100%.
yeah.
But back to the A&M game because I want to make one statement. You know, why I don't see us fumbling one of these games we shouldn't win or we should win. That last possession from Missouri, we held them to it like literally just
7
like
plays.
7 plays, and we were like, "No, you're not getting in. This isn't happening. We're ending this game right here. You're not getting in the end zone."
And it was the
That was
saddest field goal of all time.
beautiful, beautiful.
No, it wasn't.
Unless you had the over, it was the saddest field goal of
No,
all
the
time.
saddest field goal of all time. Oh, what game was it? Um, it was like a 23 and a half point spread. And they was it like Michigan State or somebody recently? They kicked a field goal and it like helped them cover the
Oh,
spread.
yes.
Um,
There was one also with
it was against Oregon. It's the Oregon game,
yes.
right? I think it's Michigan State. Michigan State kicked a random field goal in the fourth quarter for absolutely no reason as time expired, just so that they covered the spread. And
I think
that coach
didn't they call a timeout to do it?
yeah, they need to be investigated immediately. That coach needs to be investigated for sure.
Michigan State's got enough problems.
I'm just saying, like, if you're betting on that game, that's a bad beat of all bad beats. You are
Yeah,
so you are your television has a hole in it by the end of that football game.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but did y'all see the ticket prices for the Texas game?
I bet they're like
they're
$1,000
insane.
Oh, it's the get-in price was $900 when I looked at it. And that could happen that week. And there is a very real possibility that could then happen again the next week in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, still currently top of the SEC standings, so good job,
We'll
Texas.
be top of the SEC standings through the bye too.
There you go.
Be walking into week
right.
7.
Let's talk.
8.
We got to do it. We did it last week. We got to do it again.
I'm so pumped about this football program.
Let's look at the Texas A&M schedule for the rest of the year.
I don't see a loss on there.
We're at what? What's our record right now? 4-1.
We're doing exactly what Josh
5-1.
Pate said not to
5-1.
do when I watched the video today. Josh Pate said we're doing exactly what we shouldn't.
I listened to his podcast yesterday. He was like, "Do not jump ahead."
All right, great bye. We're gonna have a.
Oh,
great
he said we can jump ahead, but the team can't jump ahead.
We're gonna have a great bye week. No one's gonna get arrested. It's gonna be great.
Georgia lost a guy today.
I don't know. Did someone tell College Station PD don't arrest anyone this weekend?
They should have.
Hopefully.
No marijuana charges.
College Station PD arrested Alex Cruz, so there's nobody protected from the law.
That's what a saint that guy is. Then they play at Mississippi State, just like the place that is in years past a guaranteed loss, but we're gonna assume
not just anyone walks into Starkville and wins a game unless you're Toledo
by 40. We're gonna assume that A&M
their coach died 18 months ago.
Can get through this.
Brandon Walker
can get through this. So that's 6-1.
That LSU game is looking huge.
Then you have the LSU game at home at Kyle Field.
But listen, this sets up nicely for us because doesn't LSU play Alabama the next week?
Yes.
Well, and they play
Ole Miss, or who do they play this week?
They play Ole Miss this week.
They play Ole Miss this week, and then us, and
then Alabama.
No, but who do they?
They have a bye before Alabama.
I was gonna say there's got to be a bye, so you want those flipped. You want it to be Bama first, then us, then then Ole Miss. You want
Ole
to
Miss,
like
Arkansas, then us is not a bad setup.
I know, Oh wait, so they play Ole Miss, then they play Arkansas, then they play
Yeah,
us?
then us. Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually good. So there is a new trend that is happening in the sports gambling world that I'm paying attention to. Um, it's the Detroit Lions tax.
Yeah.
Because Detroit Lions played nice physical football. And so teams so far
Get
have
tired.
not covered against the spread the week after they play the Detroit Lions. I think Arkansas will play that nice brand of physical football
Yeah, they will.
and beat up on LSU. And then obviously A&M's defense is also incredibly physical.
Yeah,
Um,
and
and
very,
so
very good.
and
And we
very,
get them
very
at
good.
home. We get
And
them at
it's at
home.
home.
And I don't think
110.
LSU. I honestly don't think LSU's that good.
LSU's defense is bad.
Yeah, LSU's defense is terrible.
Which
And
plays well for us.
it
And
does
Harold
play well
Perkins is
for
out for the
us.
year.
But we have shown on occasion sometimes our secondary does like to just disappear. And that
You
would
know
be
what
not great
LSU
against
likes to
LSU.
do also? LSU's quarterback likes to sit in that pocket a long time.
That will definitely be helpful for us. All right,
That will help us because we'll
so
get back there.
LSU, we're saying winnable.
If you win that one, I'm on top of the world.
I'm on board.
Okay,
Oh, if we win that one,
we're
I'm
gonna put
looking at Texas.
we're putting the battle of the Aggies that we're gonna beat New Mexico State. I'm just like that's a cupcake game scheduled in there. That has to be a win, or that's a fire everybody offense right there. That's just like losing to New Mexico State, fireable
our
offense.
second bye comes at a good time too.
Carolina, South Carolina, and at Auburn are two away games that are.
Auburn.
Those
So Auburn is actually to me a better team than the record is. They
Mm-hmm.
just turn the ball over 25 times a game.
Yeah, Auburn.
Plays good for us.
But if they figure that out, then
Yeah.
it could be a problem a little bit.
Also, Auburn is the game that is the week before Texas.
Yep.
So if we have not lost going into that, that is the look ahead games of all look ahead games.
You wish that New Mexico State game and Auburn game was swapped.
You do, and we haven't really played great at Auburn either in years past.
Well,
Auburn's usually
they had that streak where no road team ever or no home team won a game in that series.
yeah,
For
but I just
9 years.
They're usually a nice physical team, so I don't know.
I'm going to that game too. Anyone want to go to that?
I
one?
think I'm more worried about the Auburn game than I am South Carolina game. The South Carolina game, though, now that I say that, that's gonna crush because we're gonna be in Shreveport all together. And if we are on a streak and we lose that game after beating LSU, that one's gonna hurt.
Heavy drinking night.
South Carolina
It's
does
gonna be a
not
heavy
really
drinking night, regardless. It's gonna be happy drinking or sad drinking. That's the question.
Yeah.
I truly think the most losable game here is Arkansas.
And Orgeron has
It's
joined
so
the
bad.
podcast. Go Tigers.
It's hurt.
Show me the door. Which door you want me to go at?
Good Lord, that was great. All right, take another sip of whatever you're drinking, bud, and try again.
That cough syrup.
Woo.
Oh man, that's bad.
I apologize to our audio listeners.
No, they thought
I'm not boosted and I'm getting the hit.
What were you trying to say?
Oh, you couldn't understand me?
No.
Not a word.
Oh. I think that Auburn's the most losable game out of everything we've talked about.
Yeah, and then Texas at home.
That is going to be let's look ahead again. If that is a 10-1 Texas A&M and a 10-1 or 11-0 Texas, that is going to be a absolutely humongous game.
That is true, but I will take that every day of the week because if we are 10-1 going into that game, we're in the playoffs.
Okay, so I was thinking about this though. If that happens, I'm cool with that, of course. I do not want to end up in the SEC championship game.
Correct. Unless we win.
Get me out of that game.
No, if we beat Texas, put me in the SEC championship.
Oh yeah. But if we lose
Texas, that game, keep me out.
Get me out. I do not want to see the Aggies in Atlanta that next week. Get them out.
I agree. Let's just get ready for the playoffs.
I mean, we've talked about this every week on the podcast, but every single scenario makes it seem more and more likely that we're going to get a team that is entering the SEC championship game with 2 losses, playing a team they already lost to, and then that's going to make them have 3 losses and not make the
Yeah,
playoffs.
we need to do away with the SEC
That's
championship
something
Yeah.
game.
terrible.
Or
It's like
make it between the fourth and fifth teams, so you can have an extra week of games, and you give a team an opportunity to like have a statement win. Still, maybe don't get in the playoffs, but at least you provide an opportunity for a win. But jeopardizing a team that is potentially going to be 2-loss team in the SEC championship game is about the dumbest thing a conference can do.
Hey, if you're a 2-loss A&M team and you make the SEC championship, we got kids opting out in this middle of the season. I'm not upset with Mike Elko if he says we ain't playing in the SEC championship
You
game.
can't do that.
you can't do that. You got to make the playoffs, dude.
Hey, we're opting out. Why can't you?
Because
then you're
we've
not gonna make the
never made the
playoffs.
Then
playoffs.
you'll never make a playoff.
If we go to Texas as a 1-loss, if Texas comes to College Station as a 1-loss team and we even lose to Texas, we're still in the playoffs as a 2-loss team.
Not if you have to go to the SEC championship game and play somebody else and lose.
But that's what I'm saying. You opt out of the SEC championship
You
game.
can't opt out.
We ain't going.
You can't just
That's
not
not
play
how
a
this
game that you
works.
have to play.
Tell them send Vanderbilt.
I think it's a better idea just to do away with the game altogether. But
Yeah.
Well, I agree. I said that a long time ago, and
That would be the most A&M thing ever.
Shane's
to finally
writing-
make an
Shane
SEC
writes
championship
fan fiction
game.
at this point.
But that's the thing that
Uh-huh.
that's the thing that screws like the most A&M thing ever would be just like I feel like the committee always looks for a reason not to put us in the playoffs when we have a good resume. But then getting in a scenario where you have to play your biggest rival ever, who is clearly one of the best teams in the country. And if let's say you lose both of those games by a field goal, and then that's why you don't make the playoffs, is because
I'd
you
be
beat
pissed.
Texas twice.
I'll
And
jump
then
off a bridge.
that gives, and then guess who they put in a Notre Dame or Michigan or some crazy nonsense like that, which it wouldn't be Michigan this year because they've already got 2 terrible losses. So, but yeah, there's hope.
Remember this podcast after week 1, fellas?
Oh yeah, remember when we had a funeral?
Yeah.
I will say, I think I texted in the group chat immediately after the game was over that I now have too much hope. Like I have too much hope.
Oh, I did too.
I'm ready to crash and burn, and I
I
swear,
was sitting there 41-10, just chilling.
if we lose to Mississippi State, don't expect a
I'll be
podcast that
done.
week. There will not be.
You
a
will be
podcast
burying
episode
me
that
in Starkville, Mississippi. That
It
week.
will not. There will not be a podcast that week.
Blake, you keep saying things you shouldn't say. The internet wins.
Hey, I saw one where the dude tweeted like, if so and so loses to so and so, I think it was about Vanderbilt. Maybe it's like if Alabama loses to Vanderbilt, I'll post a video of me blowing my brains out. And I think Big Cat retweeted it and said, "Well, dot, dot, dot."
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was suicide, but it was something bad. It was something. No, I think it was something about he was gonna chop his penis off. I think that's what it was. He wouldn't have died, but he was like, "I'm gonna chop my penis off." And Big Cat is just great. I swear he just goes. I swear he Googles it. I swear, or like he like goes on Twitter and in the search function just says like, "If Bama loses to Vandy" or something like that.
I think it might have said like, "We're waiting."
Yeah.
Look, I walked into church Sunday with my A&M tie on, doing the Conor McGregor big balls dance. You know, I was big dicking in church, in Jesus' church.
All right, let's go through some of the other games, because there was a bunch of other upsets as well. Technically, Texas A&M not an upset because we were 2.5-point favorites, but I'm gonna call it an upset.
Top 10 team loses.
Because top 10 team loses. Let's talk about another non-upset though. Miami cheated again against Cal. Like, I think I'm officially on team ACC is starting to do something fishy.
And the crazy part is it doesn't really matter because with the ACC, like it's going to be Miami or Clemson.
Yeah, and I think
maybe both.
Clemson is better than we think they are.
I think
they had a bad week 1. I think Clemson is actually pretty decent.
But even if Miami loses, they could lose twice. I mean, the ACC is so bad. They could probably lose twice, given the ACC championship game and win.
The targeting call is rough, but I know a lot of people just want to see the boys play.
But it was a pretty obvious one.
It's a pretty obvious one. With all the other things, when the Florida player gets called for targeting for hitting a guy in the butt,
Yeah,
You're right.
then
I forgot about that.
maybe the quarterback getting drilled in the head should be a penalty. And then the game-winning touchdown, having the offensive lineman standing in the end zone
Oh,
is
yeah, he was 10, 15 yards down the field.
and I did not know this. I learned that this weekend. You know, in college football, offensive linemen are allowed to be 3 yards downfield.
Yeah,
That's a stupid. This goes back to our conversation from last week. Why are the rules different for college football? Fix it. It's stupid.
they
There's
should.
too
Yeah,
there's too many rules. And this I'm a guy who loves rules. Everyone on this podcast can attest to this. If my mother is listening, she can comment and attest to this as well. I love rules. But there's too many rules for us to keep track with all the different forms of football. We need one set of rules.
I'm on board with that because sometimes I'll watch an NFL game and then a college game and I'm like, what in the world's happening here? Because the rules are different. And the
Also,
field and rules need to all be the same.
field needs to be the same. Rules need to be the same. Targeting needs to go away. Targeting is the stupidest thing ever. Just call it unnecessary roughness, 15-yard
Don't
penalty, but
eject them.
you don't need to eject a kid. If it's a second penalty, then eject the kid.
Or
But,
or let's use common sense. Like if it's egregious, then okay.
yeah.
But hitting somebody in the butt, come on.
Hitting somebody in the butt should not get you ejected from a game.
I can't believe they called that. That was crazy.
I didn't actually. Once again, I did not get to watch this game.
I stayed up
College
until
game day.
1:30 watching
Yeah,
this freaking game.
Oh,
I know
dude, Reese
everyone.
Davis was dead.
I know
Yeah,
everyone
dude.
was freaking out about the college game day situation because Cal had a good environment, and to that I would say, hey, ESPN and Disney, go to more than just the same four schools every year, and you would get more fun environments. Go to these random schools, and they will show up.
I wish I was a Miami fan because I really want to buy a Coke versus Woke shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That
Like
good.
was funny.
the signs at game day were so freaking good. Like the first one I saw, and Josh Pate talked about it on his podcast. He goes, the first sign I saw was I thought this was a protest.
Yeah.
That was
Hey,
great. Yeah,
the Cal fans did pretty good about making fun of their own state.
yeah, they
Dude, it was
did.
good.
I loved Stanford Steve was giving it to him, saying that the most of the people in the crowd were kids that didn't get into Stanford. I was like, that's a good little back and forth going
Oh,
on.
Did you
yeah.
see Nick Saban? He said like, "Well, if Stanford's so good, why'd you go find a girl at Cal?"
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Stanford Steve's married to a Cal grad, maybe.
I guess I don't know,
Sure
but
hope so, or else that made for an
well,
awkward.
and then Stanford
Yeah.
Steve responded by like he basically just said all of the girls at Stanford are freaking ugly. Is basically what he said. I was like, ooh, rough. But I mean, yeah, I think college football, I think college game day, some of like the better environments are when they go to these schools like that they don't ever go to, and it's like
They go to a
That was the
different
first time they
school.
ever went to Cal, I believe.
first time they ever
Well,
went to
what was it?
Cal, or like was it South Dakota State or whatever they went to a few
Yes.
years ago
Yeah.
was crazy. James Madison last year was
Yeah.
crazy. Like go to these,
They went to
yeah,
Appalachian State, and it was insane.
yeah. Like I
They
mean,
don't have a season.
I get that the Red River rivalry is a great game, and that you're always going to end up. That's a great rivalry, but you don't have to go there for college game day every year. I'm assuming this weekend they're at Ohio State, Oregon.
I think they are.
They're not at Texas, are you?
No, because Ohio State, Oregon's 2 versus 3.
I know, but
Yeah, they're at Ohio State, Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Somewhere
like,
they got
there's
they
no
got
history in that game. You don't need to be there. There's no fun there.
It's just two big programs, I think, that
I
don't
like their
play.
I like the rivalry games. I think
Yeah, but
I mean,
I don't think they should go to the Red River rivalry game because it's not on campus.
it's not on campus.
Yeah, I mean, I think some years if like both teams are good enough, then you
It's
can
just not the
go.
same. It's not the same. Like, and I don't care about college game day that much. I tune in a little bit, but I don't watch a ton of it.
I watched
It is
it.
much better when it's on campus.
Yeah.
But like you got Florida, Tennessee. I know that probably isn't going to be a good game, but those are two like that.
Ohio State, Oregon might be the biggest game of the year so far.
Yeah,
The
but
first
just
time
talking about
Ohio
Just
State's played anyone.
yeah, but it's just because it's
teams
the
that hate
biggest
each
game of the year
other.
doesn't mean that it needs game day there.
Oh yeah, I'm fine
Yeah,
with that there. But
that's where
but
game
they
day
pretty
got.
much try to go to the biggest game. It
Yeah,
feels like.
but
Yeah.
that's where they've got screwed up. Is like there's better environments to go to. Like, have they ever been to BYU?
No,
I'd like
Ohio
to
State,
see.
Oregon is going to be humongous this weekend.
No, I know, but has game day
No.
ever been to
Yeah,
BYU? I bet you the
BYU
Mormons would
doesn't
show
allow
up.
drinking
I was
on
going to say you
campus.
need some
I can't
alcohol
imagine.
involved with that whole show. Pat McAfee can't go on BYU's campus.
Yeah,
They
that
do.
is
What is that
true.
thing called that they do where someone shakes the bed? Johnny, what is
Oh,
that called? You were a Mormon
soaking?
Tuesday.
Johnny
Soaking.
ever
Not what it is,
participate?
but sure.
He was a
That's
Mormon for a hot minute.
I think that
what
college game
happens.
day this weekend should be at Kent State versus Ball State.
Yeah,
Literally
see?
the two worst teams in college football. And they should just lean into it. And it
Where's
should just
Boise
be
State playing?
Hawaii.
That
At Hawaii though.
We have to do Hawaii. It'll be at midnight Hawaii time.
Yeah,
that'd
the
be
game
That would
they
be
would have
rough.
to get there in the middle of the night.
college game day at Hawaii would be kind of rough.
Ooh,
I
they
do think
should go to
college game
like
day has done a
Florida.
good job recently of not taking themselves so seriously. And I think it's all because of Pat McAfee.
Oh,
Dude,
for
Pat
sure.
It's gotten
McAfee's
so much
changed it.
better. It's gotten so
It's
much
so
better.
much better.
Well,
It's actually funny.
also Lee Corso's not on the show anymore, so
Well, he died. I think they're covering up for his death. Him and Jimmy Carter together are just laying in a
Jimmy Carter, that picture that came out was
The bodysuit.
that picture that came out. I was like, "There's no way this is real."
That's not a human anymore at this point.
They're with Joe Biden in a
I mean,
in a tomb somewhere.
do y'all remember? Do y'all remember? No, this is a deep cut. That's gonna, but like, do y'all remember from the show SpongeBob, the
Yes, I know
old
exactly
lady
what you're
that
talking
shriveled
about.
up in the wheelchair?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's Jimmy
And
Carter.
she's like, I remember chocolate.
I remember
Like
Chocolate.
just what? Oh man, that picture. That's the first thing I thought of for sure. Was just like, oh, it's the SpongeBob chocolate lady.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter is not a person at this point in time. He fell asleep during the flyover that was directly over his head. I heard somebody else say they had to do a flyover because they couldn't do a band because he wouldn't be able to see it because his head's pointed directly in the air.
Dude, that's so fucked.
All right,
I think
let's
it's time
wrap.
to let him go. They need to cut bait with that one.
Yeah, it's possible. Let's wrap up the other games that were considered upsets. I'm not really too excited about because we know those teams are bad. Like Michigan getting upset by Washington. We know
They
Michigan
weren't
sucks.
even favored. Washington was a 2-point favorite.
Yeah, there's no reason why Michigan should even have been a top 10 team. Are they still ranked?
No, I believe
No,
I
they're
think they're unranked.
They
They're
better be
unranked.
unranked.
It took 6 weeks though. That's the travesty of it.
They needed an excuse. They were just waiting.
They
knew
have
they were
plenty
gonna
of
win.
excuses.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but
And-
that USC game saved them for a few weeks.
well, you know what? Speaking of USC, I wouldn't consider USC losing to Minnesota an upset either. Because
No,
Nope.
USC stinks.
we've already been over this. USC, they're not built for the Big Ten. They're gonna struggle. All right,
in football.
that does bring me on to my last topic of the day, though. And this is the one I'm actually the most excited to talk about.
Michigan is still ranked, fellas.
Oh,
Oh,
golly.
my
Come on.
What are
Sorry.
they?
What are they, 22?
18.
24.
Who do they play this week? They better freaking
Their
lose.
bye week.
They better lose their bye week. Okay.
I mean, but
Let's
no,
see
this
him
is
get
a
arrested.
travesty. How can you watch that team play football and still put them in the top 25?
It's
Austin, I think I know your next topic.
I mean, yeah, it's the most obvious topic. Oh, no. We're not talking about brandishing weapons, but that's hilarious.
oh yeah, that dude that literally the other dude that pulled out the gun, he unstrapped, pulled out the gun, and shot him in the back of the head. That was the funniest celebration I've ever seen. He did
No,
he
I
did
do.
this, then he pulled out the gun, pow.
I do think I'm personally more in favor of shotgun to the face of Jackson Dart. I think
That was good too.
That was
But
good.
the execution was unbelievable. He just pulled out a pistol, dead.
What do you say as a coach? Like, all right,
Who was that?
let's
Dark?
role play here. Austin, you're the head coach of a football program,
I can't
and
say this on the podcast. It's going to be way too
it
inappropriate.
is Saturday night. It's Saturday night after the game, and you're in the locker room. What do you say to that kid?
I'm going to say the next person who fake pulls a gun on someone, I'm going to pull a real one on you. That's what I'm going to say.
I think my exact words would come out to be like, "Hey, fucking Ja Morant, stop fucking finger gunning people and just play fucking football, you dumbass."
When
All
did
right,
it
I will.
start?
Hold
When
on.
did it start?
Can we do one edit point on Jonathan just to mess with the player and for the good onomatopoeia? Instead of saying finger gun, I need you to say finger bang. I need you to say finger bang. Uh, no, it started this year and I don't know why. Is it a TikTok trend?
It's
I
I
this
don't
don't
know.
get
too.
it.
This one too. I hate this one too. What are they?
Well, I really like the sword, the putting your sword
Yeah,
back in.
Well, especially when you do an execution style pistol afterwards.
yeah. But you gotta do the sword one better because a lot of guys look like they're putting a seatbelt on. And I'm like, you can't one hand it. Now it looks like you're putting a seatbelt on. You
Well, you
gotta
gotta
do the two hands.
you gotta chop dude's head off
Yeah.
first, and then sword into the
Yeah,
holster.
maybe
Into the
that's the
holster.
next. That's the new celebration. Instead of the finger bang, you do the you just walk over like while the guy's laying on the ground, you just like stab him with the sword.
Do you think?
Did y'all see the one that I'm talking about?
No,
I
what
have to
game
send it.
is
I gotta
that?
find it. I
Yeah,
cannot remember
you
what
gotta
team
put
it
it, you gotta
was.
put that one in the group chat.
I was literally cracking up for probably 20 minutes because it was so ridiculous.
Do you think in the off season, Urban Meyer's going around school to school teaching these kids how to finger bang, or is this a learned trade? Or
It's gotta be a TikTok trend. It's got to. Because
I
it's
almost hate
it's
it
an
more than
epidemic. It's even in the NFL.
yeah. I
Yeah.
almost hate it more than the cornerback not having nothing to do with the play
Oh
and
yeah.
then going like this.
The South Carolina one.
The
That was
South
the
Carolina
funniest
one is so
moment
good.
Saturday. He shot 100 bolts in that dude's head.
Oh, so good.
I was like, there's no way this is real.
All
This
right, we're
cannot be
gonna.
real.
And then I love afterwards when they act like they're shocked they got a penalty. Like the guy just straight up just like acts like he drives by as a guy. He's like, "What? What did I do?"
Like the LSU one in like week 2 was just all he did was act like he had a shotgun. He just, but like these are getting outrageous now.
Or the NFL, the guy did like the classic, got a first down and pointed like this, and then they were like, "That's finger guns. That's
Yes.
penalty."
See, that's dumb.
Well,
I don't I
The NFL is noticing that we got all these kids shooting up people in the streets, so they're saying that we can't do finger guns anymore, and we got to get rid of that. That's the no fun league.
They're just showing appreciation to the fact that they're not on the streets, that they are really good at football. And they know if they didn't play football, they might just be gangbanging out there. You know, flashing gangbang signs
Xavier
like
Worthy's
Shane.
mom looked
We
like a
do not
hoochie on
condone
national TV last
we do
night.
not condone gang signs
Gang
on
signs.
this podcast.
No, we don't.
YFC fan 30 or whatever your name was.
That guy's probably the same type of human that's protesting golf courses. He's a despicable human being.
I just can't believe that the guy on a podcast about how the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl as a Saints fan wasn't appreciative. He should
I
have been
know.
very pro podcast.
Should have been pro gang signs. I went out as the only person that said we're going to win the Super Bowl, and then he's got something to say to the one guy that's on his side.
And Shane said that, and I think they've lost all 3 games since.
Y'all see this ish?
It was Minnesota.
I gotta find a good video of it.
Minnesota, he did the lift the shirt.
That's great. All right. The topic I really wanted to talk about, though, if the season ended today, who wins the Heisman Trophy?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Y'all, no.
That's
No,
gotta
it
be
does
easy.
not. It's gotta be Gianti, however you say his
Oh, I
name.
do think it's
The dude is
Jansen.
averaging over 10 yards a carry.
He had 168 yards this week and only played a half of football.
His over under for touchdowns was 3.5.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The dude is a monster. And I swear he has a superpower. You watch and just defenders just bounce off of him.
He's
Well,
an
he's a large
NFL back
human.
playing college football.
He
It's
looks
like
like he's
Derrick
playing middle
Henry.
schoolers.
It was like Derrick Henry at Alabama.
No, it was like Derrick Henry at high school, is what it's like.
Yeah, that's what it's more like. This guy's better than Alabama Derrick Henry.
Oh, whoa.
This guy's better. This guy's
All right.
stats are insane.
Yeah, but he hasn't had to play the same level of competition that Derrick Henry played at Alabama. Like, let's relax.
Do you not remember
I
that
just sent y'all
video?
that celebration. Y'all gotta watch it. It is the
Yeah.
funniest one.
Do you
Send
not
it.
remember that video of Derrick Henry at the national championship at the coin toss and just the mass of that human being?
I remember the same
compared
thing with like the Baylor player at the coin toss, and he wasn't any good
Yeah.
though. So that's not your best
Oakman?
argument there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
He
Derrick
had-
Henry is good.
He had 192 yards, averaging
half.
7.7 yards a carry
That
against
actually
Oregon.
that brought his average down.
He only
Yeah.
played one half too.
Yeah, his
Well, no,
over
this week
his
he had
over under for
186.
his over under for rushing yards last weekend was 190 and a half. And he covered it
Washington's-
in the first half.
Washington State, he had 259 rushing yards.
The dude is should be the Heisman Trophy winner. And if he doesn't win it, I'm gonna be pissed. This is the first year in forever that we should have a running back win the Heisman Trophy.
Y'all like that one?
That's insane.
AJ's face is so funny.
He is officially the Heisman Trophy favorite, though.
What did he come in at the beginning of the year is what I want to know.
No, probably.
People knew about him.
People knew about him. He had a hell of it. I mean, that video is insane, dude.
AJ says, "Let the boys have some fun."
I literally laughed at that video for 10 minutes.
That's amazing. Oh, great.
I think he was trying to be like the Olympic shooter guy.
Yeah, I wish he was a little bit closer. The way that
Around his face.
honestly, the way you described it was funnier than the actual video because I just pictured him just standing right behind the guy, just full on execution style. All right,
He puts his hands up like, what I do?
that's my favorite part of all the videos. All right, we're gonna try to corral it here to talk about gambling. Oh gosh.
Celebrations of what in the world?
I'm about
All
to
right.
do that at work when
Hey,
I'm
Austin,
happy.
speaking
I'm
of
about to do
gambling,
it
Liberty's in
everywhere.
overtime.
Are they in overtime? Son of a gun.
Did they
I'm
come
literally
back?
about to do that all the time.
I'm about
This will
to
be my new
ruin
lifestyle.
my
Yeah. Every time I do something good at work, I'm just gonna be like,
wait. Oh, they just started overtime. Oh crap. They got the ball first too, didn't they?
Yeah.
There goes my money line parlay on Tuesday. What a great start to the gambling week.
I'm pro
lose
gun celebrations at this house.
Gonna lose the first leg Tuesday when they were up 14 points in the fourth quarter.
Ooh, someone needs to screw the silencer on and then pull the gun.
Like,
I mean, this
Hitman
dude got a whole
style.
routine. He literally strapped the seatbelt, pulled up his shirt, and then shot the dude in the back.
Also, cowardice move. We don't shoot people in the back. That's not that.
The South Carolina one is still the most ridiculous because it was so unexpected. It's just like a tackle. And it's just
Oh man. All right.
we need to bring back Charlie Strong's 5 core values.
Yeah.
No firearms, fellas.
What color is everyone's pee? That's the question. Or is that Tom Herman? One of them.
That Tom Herman was the hydration.
Okay.
You're hydrate like a champion.
Hydrate like a champion. Gotta do the pee test.
Charlie Strong just had the 5 core values.
Or
that no
4
one
core
followed.
values is one of them. And I love that picture of that dude in that Texas jersey, and it had the number 4 or 5, and on the back it said just core values where the name should be.
All right. We've reached the point of the year. Shane started early this year. Shane's comeback has already begun. He was our big winner last weekend. Blake was our biggest loser.
Yeah, I did terrible.
Going a solid 0-3 there. That's great. Uh,
Nerd.
that was probably
Yeah.
the season that they won 4 games too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Love them core values.
that brings our records up to the year. Shane's still in last place with 5 wins. Wait, no, hold on. I forgot to update Shane's scores. Okay, TBD on Shane's scores. No, that's right. Shane missed a week. That's why he's behind. Shane only's got 5 wins. Blake and I have 7. Jonathan is a solid even 9-9 on the year.
So we're all
I
losing.
have the bets from the week I missed. I have 6 wins.
Okay, sorry. Shane has 6 wins.
I'm
Which means
honest. I went 1-2 that week. I'm honest at
I
least.
know you told me. I just forgot to write it down. Um, so Shane's still in last place with 6 wins, but still improving. Shane's on the comeback early this year. Which if he does the same thing he did last year, but starts earlier, he's going to end up winning by 20 games. So good for him. You got to watch out when Shane gets in that late season. He figures Vegas out. Want to
Better
follow him.
hop in the train with me now before it's too late, gentlemen.
All right. And for this week, we could have issues because Blake and I are on the same page. Blake and I both have Ohio State minus 2.5 against Oregon on the road.
Shit.
We also both have the Falcons minus 6.5 against the Panthers, I believe, also on the road. So I already dislike both of my picks because
Yeah, me
they're
too.
on the road, but
Both on the
whatever.
road.
And then we do differ. Blake, I think Blake has lost his mind. I think that's what he's going with here. Blake has taken the Cleveland Browns +9.
That's a lot of points.
Their quarterback won't even play.
But they got a good defense.
They have a kind of average defense.
They
He should be arrested for being terrible at quarterback.
but the Eagles are not a good football
Even
team.
A said
The
it.
Eagles are not a good football team, so I do think if you're going to take anyone, this is a time to do it. But also, I'm afraid that the Browns are just going to quit because of Deshaun Watson. So
Oh, Liberty,
did they win?
they just fumbled, sack fumble.
Liberty fumbled?
No, FIU fumbled.
Oh, let's go. First leg of the parlay hits. Let's go.
The quarterback just got killed.
Nice.
Let's see if they do a
love to
gun
see it.
celebration at him.
If you would like to join the college football money line parlay, which did hit last weekend, I've also got Western Kentucky money line, Texas State money line, Illinois money line, Tennessee Volunteers money line, plus 122 odds. FanDuel
Oh,
Sportsbook.
I see no way that loses.
You say that, and then Liberty making me sweat very first leg. So,
Bad.
all right.
On a
So
Tuesday of all things.
on a Tuesday. But hey, we are continuing on with our 55 days of consecutive college football games, or just sorry, consecutive football games, which is lovely. I think we are 5 days in, so 50 more days of football, so that's good. The other game that I took for this weekend, I am taking the Washington Huskies plus 2.5 this weekend. Shane is taking the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers plus 9.5.
A lot of points.
It is a lot of points. Also, Arizona State +6 and the Houston Texans -7 against the Drake May led New England Patriots. More on that on tomorrow's episode of the Football is King podcast. And Jonathan didn't send me his pick, so he's going to say his out loud.
I am taking the Iowa Hawkeyes -2.5 over Washington Huskies.
That's a dumb pick.
Didn't the Washington Huskies just beat Michigan, who is just basically Iowa? They're the same team. Just saying.
Michigan's worse. And then I will take Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're almost a team ride here.
Yeah. I do not think Oregon's that good.
I don't think Oregon's that good either.
Dylan
I honestly don't like either of the two teams' quarterbacks.
Dylan Gabriel is trash.
I
I will take the Ole Miss Rebels -3.5 over LSU. Jackson Dart's about to throw for 500 yards on LSU.
He did. Jackson Dart did get shotgun to the face by a random South Carolina guy. So
I think he's going to come back really strong. They're going to play mini men when he comes in the arena.
I mean, what are the odds that Jackson Dart throws a touchdown pass and just does the shotgun to somebody else. And it just every week it
It's just
continues.
continuous.
That's what the trend needs to be. That'd be great.
Just everyone accept the fact that we're going to get penalties and let's just all do it.
Nice. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode of the Football is King podcast. I think that this was a fun one, y'all. College football was great. We got, actually, before we wrap it up, let's talk about some games that we got coming up in the future because I think we got some good games this weekend as well. We've already talked a lot about Ohio State, Oregon. Honestly, I don't know how great that's going to be. But we got Texas OU. Texas 14-point favorites in Red River
That's a
rivalry.
lot of
Man, it's a
points for
hard one.
that
It's a
game.
lot of points for that game, but in years past they also won like 41-0 or something.
Yeah,
So
but that game's also a toss up every
that
year.
game is a toss up. It's a great game to watch. It's gonna be a little weird that game's not at 11 a.m. It's a 2:30 kickoff, like a
Oh,
proper
jeez.
SEC football game.
The
Uh,
amount of alcohol
The night
consumed
slate
before
this
that
week
kickoff.
is gonna be nice.
yeah, the night's slate is gonna be when you're gonna need your
Two, three
quad. You need
TVs.
2 or 3 TVs, or at least be doing the multi-view where you got Ohio State, Oregon, you got Ole Miss, LSU. I think K-State, Colorado is going to be kind of fun.
I do too. At 10:15, that's a perfect time for that game.
Um,
Yeah, it is.
I think that Florida, Tennessee will be exciting, but I do think that Tennessee will absolutely blow them away. Um, but I mean, just
I
there's a
think the
lot
Penn
of
State
a lot of
USC
hatred.
thing.
Penn State USC kind of lost a lot of its flavor after USC lost this weekend. I don't really see how Penn State is such short favorites in that game. That's the thing that
They
was
got to
my
travel.
that was like my rat line of the week that I'm staying away from.
No, it's because Penn State's complaining because they have to drive an hour away to the airport because they can't carry enough fuel from the Happy Valley airport to get to California or something without refueling. So James Franklin's all ticked off.
Didn't they already fly out there? They're flying out there like Thursday, so they
Yeah,
get
because they have to take an extra hour to fly out there.
okay. Well, whatever. They're gonna be. James Franklin is the worst.
He was
He's
complaining.
Also, I
And
think
it's
it's
like
1 out of 7 teams that have gone east to west coast have won.
They've
Like
all-
I
only
mean,
one
that's a
team.
big thing. It's the body
Time zone
clock.
is crazy.
Body
That's-
clock is a huge thing, and
that's
you'll
why I
see
don't
that.
like my Ohio State pick, and I think USC has a chance. It's just because of the travel. College teams do not do travel.
I mean, it's a thing in the NFL too.
The
There's
London games are always
London is always just a crapshoot. But the going from one coast to the other, lots of times has a disadvantage. So, lots of good games to talk about this week. We'll see y'all next week on the Football is King podcast. Have a good one, everybody.
Giga Mags.